Hey, it's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Hey, it's us. It's the people that you come to for fantasy baseball information. Pallazzo Podcast.
Utah.
2 L's, 2
Give me
Z's.
2.
Round of applause for Benjamin Chase, Robbie Baseball, and myself. We are live. The live chat is open. We already have questions that we're going to get to. Eddie, don't worry. We will be getting to you, Eddie. We've already been talking about you pre-show. That's how special you are, Edward. So stay tuned. We're going to cover everything that you laid out in the live chat. And everybody else who wants something to say, pop in, say hello, please do. Benjamin Chase, good to have you aboard, my friend, as Robbie pours a cold one. How you feeling on this Monday evening?
Hey, you know, baseball, high school baseball kicked off for me. And so I got to go out and take pictures and get sunburned, and life is good. So
awesome. And whoa, look at this. Robbie live pouring a Guinness with
Strongbow in the bottom.
Strongbow cider?
Yeah.
Oh,
so this used to be
mixing up a little drink for us all to watch. Jeez.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I haven't had a Strongbow in a long time. That's an English cider, I believe. I love Strongbow once upon a time.
Ontario's got like awesome ciders, but the classic drink is this. And my the chef in my kitchen, because we've had 3 very hellish weeks, not to the extent of you, Govier, or your brother, but a different kind of hellish.
Sure.
Dropped by yesterday with 4 of each, so I could make this tasty little beverage right here. Ba-doop. See the color difference?
That was delicious.
He was just saying thanks for working hard, and I said you're welcome, because he was able to hardly work. So, yeah. Now I get to enjoy a couple of these while we talk baseball. So exciting.
Oh.
Tours.
Yeah. I was just going to say
beer buttons,
those, but it's totally fine.
All right. Well, what a way to start the show. We're very excited. We're talking prospects tonight. We're going to be focusing in on MLB rookies, eligible rookies at the MLB level. We're going to cover all the teams. These guys have already put the document together. I've seen it. We got every team listed. And in fact, I've been busting my ass since I got back from Denver, caring for my brother, who's doing much better, by the way. And thanks to everybody who's been in the live chat. People have said such nice things, so selfless and kind and caring. And that's just an added bonus that we could do a show we love to do about a topic we love talking about. And people are cool and caring and supportive and funny and hilarious and all those other things we expect. So thank you, everybody, so much for that. I just want to let you know that.
Thank you, Jesus!
But I was looking at the minor leagues, so I'm very excited to talk about this. And the guys who are on the brink, last night I was looking at like, oh, which one of you guys are going to get the call soon? But we're focusing more on tonight. Who's at the level now? Like, how long will it be before Jacob Hurtabusi gets demoted? Because Austin Hayes is returning. Those types of things. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yes. Absolutely.
Not for Jacob Hurtabusi, but you know,
right. It's not his fault he wasn't blessed with a fun fantasy skill set. It's not his fault. He's a nice baseball player, but it's just not fair to him. Also, I'm be a floating head in and out. So why don't we kick it off with the news? Why don't we get rolling here? We got a lot of news to talk about, Ben. Are we excited?
Yeah, we do. And one of them brings back a former Detroit Tigger. Richard Fitz.
Go Tigers.
And
Dick
Fitz.
You gotta say Dick. Come on, man. I love it. I just think it's fun.
If the guy on Players Weekend does not use a jersey that is custom said to say Dick on the back, I'm going to be very disappointed in him.
Oh, look at this, guys. Only 3 minutes and 45 seconds into the show, and we got Nick Kurtz. When is Nick Kurtz being called up already? So let's just get that out of the way now and say, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I forget who we talked about last time, Ben, and we were wrong. We said, like, I don't know that that's going to be, you know, a right away thing. And then all of a sudden, boom, whoever it was within that conversation of Kurtz and somebody else. And I can't remember what it was or who it was, but we said, you know, logic dictates, which of course doesn't mean anything in MLB baseball anymore. So
and sometimes you also run into injuries or extra games or stuff. Changes the
26th man or 27th man, whatever it is, all that stuff.
I know one of them that you and I had talked about quite a bit was, there's no way that certain, and I can't even remember who it was, but there's no way certain guys are going to get sat. They're just going to play through it. Oh, right. It was Dylan Cruz.
Yes, that's right. And Alex Call is now getting some good time in the outfield, baby.
Yeah, they're finding a way to get both Alex Call, because I made the comment that I don't know how much they're going to want to have Alex Call and Jacob Young in the same lineup, and they've been doing that quite a bit lately. So
and Call over Young even
and
to me personally is excellent. So
that just tells you the level of expertise you are running with right now. So on that. Fitz got hurt. He's on the injured list. Michael Fulmer comes back.
Yeah.
And going to be a long man. This is really nothing for fantasy, but good for him. I mean, it was about 2 years away from the game, and he found a way to work his way back. Good for him. Second one right away. Twins sent down Jose Miranda after he was stupid on the base paths. And then Brooks Lee got the call back up from the injured list. But Jose Miranda going down instead of someone like Mickey Gasper, it does sound like that was very significantly about some really, really bad base running this year from him. Because flat out, one of the coaches made a comment about how, boy, if he did very well, or if he would have been hitting better but had the same base running blunders, he still would be going down right now, which that's not good. That's not a good look. If your mental game is not doing well. Brooks Lee just kind of fuddles up a whole lot of things. The one thing most folks would say is, oh, hey, Jose Miranda down. Well, now Ty France is going to get free run, except that Brooks Lee pushes Edouard Julien to first base and DH. So it might actually make it tougher for Ty France to get full run. And quite frankly, about the only one I really want to touch right now in redraft is Willie Castro out of that entire infield mix. Well, I mean, Carlos Correa is still Carlos Correa, and I still trust him. But I mean, out of the second base, first base, third base group there, because they're all just holding time until Royce Lewis gets back, and then they try to settle exactly where everyone figures into things. So
get some actual positions. Miranda was super disappointing to me in my home league. I picked him up as like I didn't get, Connor Norby got hurt. Okay, I'll just find a guy that didn't get drafted. Somebody made a mistake somewhere. I'm like, you know what? Miranda could be the guy. Maybe Minnesota gets into some warm weather on away games, or it's sunny at home, whatever, in April, and it'll be okay. He's been dirt. And on top of that, as you mentioned, Ben, not running at the level of which is expected of an MLB hitter. So him out, Lee in is totally fine by me. I can't remember who it was I picked up as my new third baseman, but I'm just waiting on the Norby updates of like he's on the rehab assignment. He does the weekend in AA. He's headed to AAA on Monday, and next weekend should be back with the team. That's what I want to see.
I think I ended up with Miranda in both of my NFBC leagues primarily because I have Kobe Mayo in both leagues, got him before Kobe Mayo got hurt in spring. And basically they said, this is going to mean that Kobe Mayo starts the season in AAA. Well, all of a sudden I'm like, crap, I need to make sure I have a third base corner infield sort of guy. And so Jose
there he was. Now we know why.
Speaking of twins, former twin, Jose Barrios, got a win. I think that the Blue Jays might wish that he was pitching tonight because so far it has not gone well for Easton Lucas. But
oh no, he was last week's Jesus Take the Wheel pick, and he had one good start. Oh no!
But Jose Barrios, one of 4 pitchers in the majors with 100 wins since 2016. Can you name the other 3?
Since 16, I guess
they're pretty easy. No, not Kershaw, but pretty common. You would kind of think about the stud pitchers of the last half decade.
It's not Verlander and Scherzer?
Verlander and Scherzer.
Last half. So, okay. So, but where's Kershaw? I guess he's missed too many second halves.
Yeah.
He's sleeping.
Started too late.
Verlander and Kershaw are 3 of them. Or are 2 of the 3, and then Garrett Cole is
Barrios
the 3rd.
Remember him?
And now Barrios.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
I was just gonna say how quickly we forget.
Yeah, but Barrios. I mean, how many people would think about it with Barrios being one of 4 guys
He's
with
steady.
100 wins. But he's just
steadily terrible,
Yeah.
or steadily average. Steadily average.
Jose Barrios is the exact example of someone who is your number 3 or number 4 fantasy starter at the start of the season and at the end of the season, and in the middle is pretty much that guy all year long. And you just pencil him in for a 3.80 ERA and a 120 WHIP and about 8.5 strikeouts per 9, and that spot's full. That's you love having a steady guy like that in your lineup.
You definitely do. I agree with that. Also, the Miranda thing was a real bummer for me, too. I had him. I really thought he would have a great year this year. I thought things were looking up. I thought he looked better at the end of last year, was going to take that into 2025, and now here we are. So that's a nightmare for me personally and professionally, if this is a professional thing. But I wish him the best as he tries to figure things out. And I still think that either Julian or France has value, but I can't tell you exactly which one it is.
Yeah.
I admit that. So.
Yep. And my last bit before I'll really let Robbie talk a little too here. But Strider is now confirmed coming back.
Oh, sorry. Is this
Wednesday.
Braves news? Can we get a
Yeah.
turn Braves news?
But, Strider is back on Wednesday, and the Braves started out this season with essentially 3 weeks without a break. And so they have needed all 5 starters. Everyone's freaking out right now on fantasy discussion boards that AJ Smith-Shawver went down. And went down to the minors. The reason he went down to the minors is they have taxed the crap out of their bullpen, needed all of their starters. Now they don't need all of their starters. And immediately when they sent AJ Smith-Shawver down, they brought up a long reliever to kind of eat some innings and protect the bullpen a little bit. So that's very likely what's going to happen here for a little bit is you're going to see a little bit of reliever swapping into that spot of the roster until the next time they need the 5th starter. So, sad day.
It's a bad day already. It's only 8:00 at night on Monday, and Easton Lucas is terrible. That's bad news.
To avoid talking much more about Braves during the rest of our stuff, Smith-Shawver really rebounded well in his last start against the Rays. I thought that his last few innings in that game were really excellent. He left some stuff where he didn't want to leave it, and in that ballpark, I mean, it's basically Steinbrenner with a Wrigley backing as far as wind. So it's really not a great spot. They don't have a second deck on that stadium, so basically a light breeze coming over the backdrop from behind really pushes balls out. And that particular day, they had a pretty decent wind, and it didn't do well for him early on. Well, he figured out, this isn't working. Let's go to the sinker, and he worked with the catcher, and they made some adjustments mid-game, and when he left, I believe he had like something like 11 straight guys that he had sat down before he left the game. So very impressive finish to that start. He's absolutely coming back up and still going to be in that rotation. He's just out because they don't need a 5th starter. That's all.
Got it.
Well,
all right, Robbie,
Jose
what do you think of that
Suarez,
stuff?
Right, Jose Suarez in Atlanta, really turning it around in his 3 appearances this year with that sparkling 2.08 ERA right now. The former Los Angeles Angel. Yeah, that's right. Often picked, never helpful. But anyway, speaking of often picked, never helpful, Joey Bart, he's hurt and he's out of their lineup, out of Pittsburgh's lineup, but he hasn't officially been IL'd. And I know that because in my home league, I've got him and I'm just not replacing him because you only get 40 pickups in that league. And with a bunch of my arms, Arrighetti getting hit by an errant ball and other things. I got a bunch of arms down. I can't replace everyone when they get hurt all the time. And of course, catcher is still the position that I choose to punt if I need to. So
Robbie,
Henry Davis coming up.
I hate him right now. Right now is like deep. I'm in 2 catcher leagues where I had Connor Wong get hurt and trying to pick
and
up
I have
a catcher
Wong in 2 leagues too. Yeah.
It's like it's awful. It's so awful that I'm actually starting to understand what it's like to be you now, and I might change my philosophy going forward.
I picked up Grandal after Boston signed him in 1 deep league because I'm like, there are no other options. I have Murphy been out for a year now, and Connor Wong who's now out, and I don't have. You can't just go get a guy off waivers in that league that could do anything but hurt you. So anyway, he's out. Henry Davis is up. We're going to see what he can do. Mason Wynn, is out, which sucks. Nolan Gorman's up and currently overachieving, so everyone's excited about Nolan Gorman.
And hitting against a lefty tonight. He started against a lefty.
Well, I mean, the tight times, and this could be one of those like Will Benson coming up, going 0 for 4 Ks, then sitting on the bench. Right? Gorman shows who he really is one more time, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, right, okay," and then they don't play him. So. And then the one promotion, which I think we'll circle back to as well when we get to the White Sox, Chase. Oh Jesus!
Mid-rope. Going to be
Medroff.
Mid-rope.
Yeah,
Mid-rope. Yeah.
So. He's up with the White Sox.
Which the one thing on that absolutely means that if those of you who've been following Brooks Baldwin and hoping he gets this position or that position,
not happening.
He's going to the outfield, and he's going to be an outfielder, and that's pretty much all he's playing now, if he's playing. But
never punch catcher.
I don't know. I like Chase. I think we talked about this early in the season. This is the type of guy, nowhere near the same value level, but this is a Luis Arias type of a guy. Good. He's going to give you a decent average, but he's going to give you almost nothing else as far as value, as far as home runs, steals. But on a very good defensive player. So if you got the spot and you want a guy who's going to boost your average just a little bit out of a corner or out of a middle infield spot, Meadroth is a really nice pickup.
And he broke up Crochet's no-no, who they were both traded for. Isn't that fun? Yay!
I saw that.
There you go.
So now
I'm just quickly trying to look to see who it was that I picked up. I dropped Mickey Gasper this morning in 30 teams point league because it just wasn't. Oh, that's Coco Montez. We'll talk about him later. So I dropped Gasper, picked up Montez, and then I saw the me drop, and I was like, I missed it. I just missed it. I don't know if he was owned or not, but I saw the news too late. So, but is he going to be called the number one fan of the show, or just big fan, or we appreciate? But we got some Eddie Q's here.
Yes, Eddie has some questions, and I will tell you, folks, Eddie is very near the front of our hearts and the front of our lists right now because Eddie was kind and put a tip in the jar. So Eddie, you're going to get a little extra bonus time, not just because of that, because you are a very loyal guy. We love loyal folks on our show, but he was here. He says 2 hours early, throwing down some questions for us. So I'm going to start with this one. Our thoughts on Bobby Miller, Logan Henderson, and Brandon Young. Now, I'll start with the last one there. Brandon Young is an interesting guy to me. And he's a 6'6" righty who was an undrafted free agent in the 2020 season with the Orioles and always has had solid numbers. I kind of wondered along the way why this guy isn't getting more love. Went through a little struggle bus with injury, and but he's 26 in AAA and 16 in the third inning so far, 17 strikeouts, 2 walks. What I will say on Mr. Young, he does not have an overpowering pitch, but he attacks the strike zone. He makes hitters do stupid things at the plate because you keep throwing guys stuff and they don't know what's coming. Eventually they swing at something that they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And that's Brandon Young. I don't know where he fits within the Orioles, but boy, their starters haven't exactly said that they want to take over a spot and not give it up to anybody. So there's a good chance he could be a guy that gets a look here. Bobby Miller, I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it yet to trust that he's anywhere near the guy he once was, or that he's even ready to come back as a reliever type at all. So just have not seen the control with him. Logan Henderson, I think, is right there. I honestly was a little bit surprised but they spent the money to go get Jose Quintana, so it makes sense that they brought him up. But I honestly thought Logan Henderson would be the guy to get that call because he has pitched quite well this year.
Henderson, Rodriguez should be like, as well as Quintana. Those are the three you kind of use and get in. Yep. But I thought Henderson, as you had said, is maybe next guy up ahead of Rodriguez. And I'm only saying Carlos Rodriguez because I think you could call up your other big boy, but you have that's a different Logan Henderson right there.
We're not familiar with this Logan Henderson.
No.
Yes, I went to look up a picture of Logan Henderson, I think last week for my own article, and I found lots of pictures of that Logan Henderson. It made me giggle.
Life's a jukebox, baby. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there
okay.
we go.
Woohoo! Good times, noodle salad.
Yeah,
there he is.
So
yeah, that's the guy. But yeah, and of the three, was it Mizorowski? Is that the other one I'm thinking of? Yeah, the tall boy.
Yep.
I feel like he's the one you wait and let have the most AAA time before you bring him up, as like he's your for real type guy. You don't know exactly what Henderson's going to be. You've seen Rodriguez, so for
this year, Mizorowski, this is his last chance to show that he could be a starter. I mean, he's at AAA. If he's not able to do it first half of this year, I think he spends the second half in the bullpen, and it might be in Milwaukee's bullpen, not in the AAA bullpen. But once they make that decision, it's likely coming partway through this year, it's for sure, or they're going to let him be a starter until he can't be a starter this year.
Right, 5.5 ERA, walks go up once he's gone through the order once, the walks climb up, and then they know.
Doctors say he's got a 50-50 chance of living, though there's only a 10% chance of that.
Well, there you go. I was told there'd be no math. And hey, that was said by the immortal Chevy Chase. So, it's a family thing.
It is.
All right. So on that one, I agree. I think Logan Henderson's the guy you want out of that trio, Eddie. But I do think Brandon Young is a guy who, if he gets the call, keep an eye on him, because I think he could give you, we were just talking about Berrios. He could give you kind of that steady back of the rotation type of production. That's a 4 ERA, 120 whip sort of guy. But because he controls the ball so well, he's not going to really kill you. He doesn't have the stuff to avoid major league bats all that well. So
that it is, Edward.
Days where he gets hit.
That it is indeed.
That's perfect for Eddie. You got Chevy Chase saying
that it is, Edward.
There you go, Eddie.
All right. So, second question from Eddie. These are there's a lot of names
these
here.
Are names. Schultz.
Wow.
For redraft leagues. And absolutely, Schultz is number one on that list to me in a redraft.
Schultz, Dana, Matthews.
The other one who I'm going to throw out there is Zebby, Zebby Matthews has come back with about an extra tick and a half in velocity. Sustained.
Everybody falsely said he's gonna be starting Monday. Everybody just knew it.
No. But I do really like the idea of he could be a guy. I've seen a lot of folks pushing David Festa recently too, and I think they're potentially reaching for the same rotation spot until Chris Paddock shows that he is Chris Paddock.
Oh, really?
They're going to kind of let Chris Paddock earn his way to either a new destination or released, one of the two. But the other guys on there, I don't know that I really have a whole lot of confidence in this year for most of those names. In all seriousness, if Mizorowski comes up in the bullpen, I'm on that, because that's a good cheap source of strikeouts out of the bullpen. I like that role for him. But otherwise, and I could see a similar type of role for someone like Sproat coming up for the Mets and working out of the bullpen at the end of the year. I think that could be another guy. Could be a situation.
Yeah, force all your talent up, and wherever they fit, they fit. Yeah, because you're not in it to compete. You're winning if you're the Mets.
we're hiding Mike underneath this big question.
Oh, it's fun. I like this. I'm the floating head. This is really the floating head right now.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my laundry. Oh, I'll be right back. Sorry.
He's got to wash his other shirt.
So
he's got a Cinema 9 shirt and an other.
He needs a shirt that says my other shirt is a Cinema 9 shirt. That's what he needs.
That would be perfect.
That was really funny. I was laughing. I was opening the door, Robbie. Well done.
So, all right. So the next one is really going to be kind of a fun one. We'll get into some more talk on the Nationals here, but Brady House and Robert Hassel, thoughts on production this season for redraft league purposes. as long as Alex Call is hitting the way that he is, I don't see a spot for Hassel getting regular lineup. Even if Cruz is still on the struggle bus, if Call is giving him consistent production, even if it's not great, but if it's consistent, they're going to be just fine with that, because I don't think they have any thought. I don't think that they really have any thought that they're going to be truly competitive in the NL East. So, House is an interesting thing, because so far, I better make sure I check on this quick before I shoot off my mouth and I'm completely out of left field. But so far, Paul DeYoung, 188, 220, 270 as their primary third baseman. The guys who have been playing the other guys
Josh
who've been playing at
Bell,
third. No, not at third. At third.
No, but like filling in an infield at bat or DH. Again, he's not overproducing. None of the guys are picking up.
Rosario was hitting well, but he's kind of more. You intentionally want him to be available. Like right now, with CJ Abrams going down, Rosario is going to likely get some shortstop time, and you want that. Jose Tena, 125 across the board for him. Only 8 plate appearances, but still, no one's really jumped up and said, "I am the third baseman." And so, House has started the year fairly well. It's nothing that you're like, "Holy crap, this guy needs to be up here tomorrow," but he's hitting well. And what is it? 280, 320, 440. Perfectly fine numbers. The biggest question, 18 strikeouts and 53 plate appearances. That has always been an issue with him, and it is still an issue with him. You can live with that if you're getting 25 home runs a year or more, and he's playing acceptable third base
that's
defense.
A trade-off. That's fair.
If you can get 250 and you can get 25 plus and you can get solid defense at third, you'll live with 170 strikeouts. But he's got to be able to do that. And so far, he really hasn't put a lot of balls out of the park yet down in AAA. I think that's probably, you start to see one of those two things change big for him, that his strikeout rate goes down significantly and or the home runs start leaving the building. It would not surprise me if Washington moves him up.
Yeah, financially as well. Not that that's something we ever want to think about it in fantasy. Alex calls a cheap guy to have starting and also cheap on the bench. And Hassel has a clock that you might think is very important if you are in the Nats front office. So you would like to see how long you can stretch him out in your organization based on his age, whereas Alex Call is 30. So that clock has a shorter time before it hits midnight. So I think they might be maximizing Call. And again, an injury happens or they see something and they want to bring the at-bats. Like we talked about in the preseason too, Ben. We were watching in spring training, Hassel get a lot of opportunities thinking, okay, this is Washington really testing them out against the competition, the best competition they can right now. And with House, I agree with you there. Like he's been a risk. He's been a popular pick the year he was drafted, a popular fantasy guy, and then all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, what's going on? This isn't the true legit guy we thought he was, and he's been pushed down lists and things like that. So I think his fantasy value is recovered. But
you remember that shortstop crop?
No, not. I just remember was amongst the
Marcelo
top 5.
Meyer, Jordan Lawler.
Okay,
Going through here, my Brady House. Khalil Watson, Matt McLean was a college
Watson
guy.
is just
and I'm trying to go through here. Tracy Sweeney was a college guy there. Colson Montgomery was in that high school class. Max Muncy was in that college high school class. And the guy who's really, and Carson Williams was in it. The guy who's really done the best out of all those was picked 27th overall, Jackson Merrill.
Okay.
And he moved to center field. But everyone said this is a once-in-a-lifetime shortstop class, all this crap. And most of them aren't playing short anymore. And probably the best guy still playing short is still in the minors. And so, I mean...
Yeah. gets into timelines meaning nothing to people, right? It's a thing you hope goes well, but at the same time, somebody busts a shoulder, that's an entire year of development gone, and the whole thing gets shot. Or somebody else like Merrill gets bumped up, but when a bunch of other guys don't,
like Marcelo Meyer had some knee stuff for a bit. Anyway, so that's Eddie's questions. Eddie, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your questions.
We salute.
Absolutely. Now, before you get into it, because by gosh, we have music. I want to use music. So here we go. Oh, where did it go now? Now see, and then I go and I lose it.
Production value.
There we
3,
go.
2, 1.
Except, oh crap. Is it seriously
this
not
is
on
playing
here anymore?
so well. It's like I'm doing it.
It is, because I'm not finding it now. Oh crap, because it was on here just last week and I was like, woohoo, we still have it. But I don't think
is it gone? Oh, yeah. Govier can come in to save the day.
Govier can come in, save the day.
I'm right here.
We're trying to find our Jesus Take the Wheel. Did that
but like the actual music had to get
okay.
Yeah, because we can't play it on the YouTube anymore.
No.
Ben was just looking for it. So it's fine without it. We'll get the remix sorted out.
I know.
We'll do a Kendrick Lamar Drake
I'll
remix.
I'll fix this. I'm home now. I will maybe cover this. I'll make it so we can play it.
Okay. So Jesus Take the Wheel pick.
Jesus take the wheel. I need a streamer right now. Save me.
I mean, other than the blonde hair and stunning looks, that was right on. So go for it, Robbie.
Oh no! Shirt down! Shirt down! Shirt down!
Oh, folks, it's been a while for Govier with us, and you can
now. Love being here.
So the obvious pick that people would think lines up perfectly with me here is naturally Brad Lord, because I talked about him last week and I was excited. But he's against Paul Skeens tonight. I haven't looked at what's happening, which doesn't help us if we're trying to pick streamers because he's already playing. Then he goes to Colorado this weekend. So that is a 2 whammy right there. And then he's at home next week to take on Baltimore. No thanks. Who I like Connor Gillespie. Yes. Jesus. I like Connor Gillespie, which I think is a Miami starter, because he's going against Merrill Kelly tomorrow in Arizona. Then he's at home against the Reds, which will be the 21st-ish. That's what I'm lining up his second start. And this is 2 start next week, which is always the plan with the Jesus Takes the Wheel guys. You get 3 in 2 weeks. And then Seattle's the next one. So I like it. He's been good, he was good last year in AAA with Cleveland, 113 and 30 innings, pitched 119 Ks, 1.23 whip. Of course, there were walk issues. However, I will give credit to Miami's MLB pitching staff as well as Cleveland's development staff for getting the most out of what a pitcher can do, what their strengths are. So I feel like in a 3-game run here, this is going to be okay because he's got the Miami Major League pitching staff helping him. He's got the history of Cleveland's development staff helping him. So I think we could see kind of peak Connor right now. So I like the idea of having him definitely over Brad Lord, who would be the other least rostered option. And again, Lord, you'd miss out on tonight anyway. So
get 2 things real quick here on Connor Gillespie. You're saying, is that what you said? Gillespie?
Gillisp.
Gillespie. 2
Must
things. First
American.
off, so the Marlins basically they fire Kim Ng, right? Or she's gone, but now they're playing well. Right now, it's just a micro moment, I know, but the roster looks good at the moment, which is interesting. So I'm just wondering if that's her doing more than them.
But that's the silly game you play. But that's
it is.
It's all the little cracks that fill in that make it solid, right? Like anybody can build random pieces. You can go sign George Springer, and that doesn't make you good or bad unless they're good or bad. It's all like the little plugins that you get, and that's like managing in season.
Yep.
So
that's what we're doing in Detroit right now with Al Avila. He got let go. Scott Harris is taking over, but there's guys here that Avila drafted. So
look at the Alex Anthopoulos. Everyone gave him all sorts of stuff after winning in 2021. But Frank Wren signed Acuna. Frank Wren signed Ozzie Albies. Frank Wren drafted Mike Soroka, Ian Anderson, Austin Riley, all these guys who were
Brave talk.
Freddie Freeman. What's that? Yeah, Brave.
Brave talk.
Braves talk.
But I mean, it's an example that a lot of folks kind of forget simply because you had the bad situation where the Braves got suspended for their GM that was in between it.
Why? What happened?
Anyways, that wasn't my other point. Was that
although he is not banned for life anymore.
He's not. That's true. The other thing was that I was looking yesterday at your situation here with Connor Gillespie. Jansen Junk, the former Brewer, has got some nice numbers at AAA early on with the jumbo shrimp. I thought that was interesting. Like some stupid numbers that won't last, but he had like 16 Ks and 2 walks so far. I was like, oh, I remember him. I know it didn't mean anything. Just something else I want to throw out there for people because this is the Prospects Power Hour. And then finally, Eddie, you're never a bother. Eddie, we love you here. We really do. Not just because you give us money. We already loved you before that. In fact, we record the show so we can prove it. I believe the subscriber totals will eventually increase to a level you're hoping for. You guys truly are the best podcast out here. Keep up the good work. If you were a stock, I'd be buying all day. And that was actually the second part because this was the first one. Gentlemen, I don't mean to come off as an ass kiss, but I truly believe the Pallazzo podcast is something special. And I hope the 5 of you stick with it. There's 6 of us. Sam is here. He's just not on as much, but Sam's here too. No big deal with it because if you build it, they will come. Damn right they will. Thanks, buddy.
I'm your huckleberry.
That's awesome. Thanks, Eddie. Okay. Is it ad time yet? Do we hit ad break yet?
Yeah, ad break.
Did you guys see I added a
It's
new
ad
one?
time.
No, we better put
here we go.
Because we got
Here comes a brand new ad, apropos, the most apropos ad we've had yet on this show. Let's do it.
How long are they going to worship this guy?
Hey, we got Cy Young winners over here. Come on, Alice. Pull. Step into it.
Feel bigger?
Yeah.
Hi, Top.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Hey, have you guys seen Mark?
Hey, it is Greg
Excellent
Maddox's
acting.
birthday today.
Is it really? I didn't even know that.
59
Happy
years
birthday.
old.
It's a great one. That group is so good, Phil. That makes me genuinely smile. Great stuff.
All right.
Of course,
So
it
now
had
we
to be
can-
a Braves related ad.
That was just an accident. That was on this show. It debuted with our man Ben. It was just meant to be, I suppose.
There you go. One of my favorite commercials.
And most MLB teams, I think, do some version of ads. Like I know the Blue Jays have some funny ones in their history. Like Vernon Wells was pretty good at doing the odd silly ad. So, but anyway,
Wells,
good.
yeah.
A Braves fan. Great, thanks, Jason.
No, Jaybird. Jaybird has been here since 2020. He is old school Pallazzo, and yes, he likes the Braves. So, but he loves the Tigers too. He lives in Michigan.
Nobody's perfect.
Just saying.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get on with it.
Yeah, the topic of the show tonight is rookies that are up. And we're going to have a couple that have already been sent down. But we're basically talking about anybody that, for your fantasy purposes, which is 50 innings or under, or 130 at-bats or under to start this season, is a fantasy rookie. That's how CBS does it. Fantrax, most of the sites count them as that. Service time is for prisoners, which many minors feel like they're in. But we're going here strictly with the amount of.
About Wander. All right.
I didn't bring it up. I did not bring it
That's
up.
Robbie. What are you doing? No!
I appreciate it. I did not bring it up. Let's get a little Hawk 2 on that and bring her full circle. But anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about the guys that are up on the teams. And Ben did an excellent job throwing all of the useful names down on our list. And then I went through and found everyone that no one cares about. So we are up to date with who is currently on, or like I mentioned, a couple of people have been demoted. Basically, even the relief pitchers that will not get a hold for 3 years. So we've tried to mention everybody. If we don't cover that relief pitcher you think is great, It's not one of the guys from the A's because that's half their bullpen, and I got them all written down. So we can start, though, in Arizona. We talked about this last week that we were thinking Jordan Lawler was going to get it. Tim Tawa is now the guy that's up.
Yep.
He's the only one. He's the only rookie on Arizona. Veteran-laden club. Well, I think only 3 teams, Ben, had 1 or fewer, or maybe it was 4 teams had 1 or fewer. And Arizona is one of those. And they did not open the season with that. They had 0.
Yep.
So that's it. Do we care? Is that all we want? We can get into
Next.
the athletics. We got more. Yeah.
Wait. Did you guys do a timeline when Lawler you guys think he comes up after Super 2 or something like that?
Or
is it not even about that?
Supposed to be with an injury, and then somebody Marte got injured and he didn't come up. So
yeah, if he's not coming up from Marte's injury, I don't know when. I mean, is Eugenio going to finally figure out that he can't just smash every hit over the fence? Because right now he's hitting about 200, but every ball he hits goes over the fence. So there's at least some value in that. And
worked for Rob Deere. So
yeah, I mean, it really did. And so that for right now, that's where his value lies. If things get worse and he is worse, it wouldn't surprise me if Lawler is in that route now. But no, I don't think. I don't know what you do with where you play him, because he's not coming up to sit 3 days a week. That's just it.
Right.
They're not going to bring him up unless they have a starting spot. So that makes sense. That's the tough part.
Okay. Also, he's not on the roster right now. Adrian Del Castillo is still rookie eligible. He's in the minors. I believe he's on the IL for them in the moment. I think it might have been the head concussion IL. But with all this catcher disaster stuff going on, just keep him pocketed in the back of your mind. At some point this year, ADC will make an impact. I'm locking that in.
Yeah, I think highly of him in dynasty format, and I just see Arizona finding a way to get him up. So the Athletics have no issue bringing guys up. It's just apparently putting the ball in their hand because, like I said, half the bullpen. So Max Muncy is up. Jacob Wilson is up. JT Ginn, who started Sunday, I think. Is that right? Or over the weekend?
He did. Saturday.
Backup catcher Yanni Pareda is up. And then they've got 2 RPs I'm going to mention, which is Justin Sterner, who I think came over from the Braves as a waiver claim and has been pretty useful for me in 1 points league, to the point that I picked him up in another league just because I think it's going well for him. And sometimes teams will continue to give these guys opportunities till they blow it. And finally, Noah Murdoch, who is there.
He's his 9. So, I believe he has 10 walks and 10 Ks. Like there's an even number there. I just noticed it yesterday when I was screwing around with the stat line.
So Ginn got called up and went 5 1/3, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks.
Yeah, it was a great outing. Got the victory.
Very solid outing. That's a big reason why I put him on there. This is a guy who just had huge injury stuff after he got drafted in 21, 20.
He was drafted 3 times, I think, and eventually
20 was
to Oakland, right?
Draft year, yeah. No, to the Mets.
Twice.
And then the Mets.
Yeah, he was a Met guy, yeah.
Yep, and then he is just so last year was the first time he's ever topped the first time he'd ever topped 100 innings in the minors was last year. And then he also pitched 34 innings in the majors. So just really has had injury stuff all the way along. So yeah, he's 26, but very solid pitcher. That's my high quality.
That's all
Strongbow Guinness, strongbowandguinness.com. Brought to you by Strongbow. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
I blocked my screen. I couldn't see, but we were moving to Brave, so I just figured Ben was going to jump in.
Oh, yeah. Give me the screen.
Drake Baldwin.
Let's just here we go.
Drake Baldwin. We already talked about Smith Shawver. He's back out. Oh, my God. Drake Baldwin is still on the team after Sean Murphy came back, and Sean Murphy apparently came back with a fire under his backside because he's got 4 home runs already.
Baldwin doesn't play.
But Baldwin has them. Baldwin has got starts. No, he's getting starts, and it looks like he is going to kind of take the Travis d'Arnaud role, where he is going to, if they got 5 games in a week, he's going to get 2 1 week and 1 the next week, and he's going to start probably 3 of every 10 games, I would bet.
3, okay, because I was just looking last week, and last week was a lost cause for him. He had 1 start, I believe. Yeah. So that was a bummer. And I'm not saying that'll happen every week, but when I notice that, I'm like, I can't, in a desperate catcher situation, I can't pick him up still because it's still not enough right now.
Yeah, I think there was kind of some intention of getting Murphy extra playing time this last week just to kind of get his legs back under him and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Baldwin is a guy who he's still going to be there. He's still going to get a chance. That's, keep an eye on him because Murphy has not been the picture of health in his Atlanta Braves time. So
and Murphy does this. He goes on a tear and then he goes cold.
So, moving to the Orioles.
Oh,
my God, we're done. Oh, thank goodness.
Tomoyaki Sugano is okay.
He's what everyone thought. He's an A. Oh wait, no.
No, he's not an ace. But he's okay.
He's there.
He's 35 years old.
Yeah. He's the first time, he is a rookie, but yeah, he's doing okay.
I don't think he's on that, is he?
No, he's not.
Would MLB,
right.
No, I couldn't imagine.
They didn't.
He's old.
But 14 innings, 5 strikeouts. I mean, this is really what you thought he was going to be, is a force guys to get themselves out sort of pitcher.
Ratio saver.
Give you decent innings, and that's it. Yeah. So, and he's done exactly that so far.
Try to balance out. If you got a lot of K guys, have him as a balance to your ratios, maybe. Was
he $7 million this year? Was he 12? I can't remember what it was he signed for. Ooh. I thought it was reasonable, regardless, for the likelihood of him being 13. A SP 13. So on the higher end of being an SP4.
Wow. Yeah.
But so
yeah. I mean, I think that they would be happy if Charlie Morton would produce the way that Chicano has so far. Although
I think he will. I'm not done.
Morton had one really crappy start and has otherwise been the 4 ERA guy that you kind of thought he would be.
His K-walk ratio looked pretty decent. I think he's going to be all right, but he is old too.
On the Orioles, though, the guys that you need to think about are really not up yet. They do have one that we didn't mention here because he's technically not a rookie, but Holiday looks a lot more comfortable in the major leagues this year.
Boy!
Yeah. I'm not saying that he is playing as a superstar yet, but he's not intimidated at the major league level at this point. Now, it'd be nice if he wouldn't have a 12-1 strikeout to walk rate. But he's putting good wood on the ball. He's getting working counts out. That's such a huge improvement over what he was last year when he came up. And he fell flat on his face. And And I do honestly think a big part of it is he is primarily playing shortstop this year, or was until Gunnar now came back. And so, but he has been now back at second base some. He looks
like a rough last week right there. 0 for 0 for 0 for.
Maybe he's depressed again. He went back to second.
Well, and I was saying he moved back to second. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe we need to get him more shortstop.
Well, they went to Toronto after he had an 0 for 2. If he's 19, he was probably drinking. So, right, came to Toronto, drinking age is 19. Job. Yeah, maybe
if you remember his passport,
I'm your huckleberry.
Other rookies. So, for fantasy purposes, Heston Kierstad was still a rookie to start this year. So, depending on your league format, he was at 129 at bats.
Got a lot of at bats last week too.
Yeah, that he's over now. That snuck him in, but Baltimore still doesn't seem to have like the perfect path for him as a baseball player yet. Right now, it's a hitter, DHE, you're doing stuff some of the time guy.
Ryan O'Hearn.
And then they've got, exactly. They've got those. Yeah, they got the guys that can fill in. And then their relief pitcher, Colin Selby, is the other guy. They've got
cool.
Moving on to another useless team in the AL East, the Boston Red Sox. So I know that. I was gonna say I know that this is sensitive for you, Govier, because a lot of the Boston talk is just about how guys aren't getting time like David Hamilton. But David Hamilton has been horrible. Yeah. And I mean, I've got him in the league.
Is that video on our YouTube still? Is it still there?
Yeah, it should be. So over the weekend, guys, I made a trade where I traded my 4 remaining years of JP Crawford for 4 remaining years of Trevor Story in a contracts league where it was $12 for my Crawford, 16 for his Story. I gave him I forget what, like Bryce Cunningham, I think, Yankee pitcher that was drafted last year who had one good start in the minors, and something else. This is in division trade. So in my 30-team league, This is the Boston team who traded to me, but that gave me protection because I've got Story and I have Hamilton. So now I've got kind of shortstop protection and potential playing time. Christian Campbell is up, of course, which is the topic of this, and he's screwing all of this up with his play. But it's great that that he's up. Richard Fitz up, unfortunately injured. Let's hope that this doesn't become a 4-week to 12-week to 16 to he's gone situation for Fitz, because it was nice to see that he was successful last year in a little cup of coffee, and the fact that he kind of fell into a starting role and then was able to handle it seemed like a really good thing for him. And the Red Sox backup catcher, who's now their starting catcher, Carlos Narvaez.
My starting catcher on my main event team, Carlos Narvaez. Boy, I'm going to do well this year, aren't I?
So I wanted to mention a little bit on Christian Campbell. Everyone fell in love that first week, 10 days that he was up. If you would take a look at what he has done since, he's striking out about 45% of the time.
Oh!
He's hitting about 210 with a 380 BABIP. So he's getting lucky and still hitting 210. So
that's weird.
That's hard to do.
The league quickly figured out Christian Campbell. And one of the things that I talked about this offseason, I really, really like the changes he made in his swing, but I think there's still holes there.
Guess who hit a home run 43 minutes ago?
Well,
was it David? Was it David Hamilton? Was it David Hamilton?
No, it wasn't David Hamilton.
He is going to give you power and speed, but I think anyone who expects that he's going to be a consistent 300 hitter is going to be really disappointed. Does he
have a better eye? Could he get better walk rate? Like get on base? I think
you could have a solid on base. This is a guy to me that looks a lot like a Mike Cameron type.
Oh,
physically.
wow.
Like Cameron,
real life defender. Yeah.
Cameron was an elite athlete. Would have his 290 years and would have his 230 years, but was always a guy who could give you 20-20. Sometimes a little bit more than that, but he was pretty consistent for 2020. And I think that's what Campbell kind of is right now. I hope if you have somebody who believes he's truly the next coming of Ellie De La Cruz, sell.
Right.
So the guy in our Discord earlier who said he was maybe trying to trade Campbell for Cruz now, that's a great call then, in your opinion.
Well, I don't know.
For Dynasty.
It depends on your team. I like I said, I really like the floor of Cruz, and that's kind of jumping ahead to someone we're talking, on the list later, but I think Cruz is going to be much better. Cruz has always been a guy who took some adjustment time. Once he figured it out, that was his levels.
Oh my God, Eddie.
But
what are you doing, Eddie? Come on! Wow, Eddie, we love you.
That it is, Edward.
Oh,
indeed. Yep. Ben and Robbie, I did the same for Govier Britton yesterday. Please allow me to treat you to lunch tomorrow. It's my way of saying thank you for entertaining us and for the insights you provide us. Your advice helps me win.
Awesome. Really
Make sure I'll funnel that. Really if we ever get paid by YouTube, I'll funnel that directly to them so they can have lunch. I promise.
Thank you, Eddie.
On that, just I think if I'm building a team and I have a really good baseline of batting average and a really good baseline things, give me Christian Campbell, because the upside there of the home run speed or of the power and speed could be really fun. But if I need to have a guy who's going to consistently get me 280 down the road, I think that's going to be Cruz. And this year, I may look like an idiot. I may, this might be something you want to record and put on a loop. I look like an idiot. There we go. But this is, I think down the road, you're looking at a guy who's going to have a very up and down batting average, but going to have a lot of fun watching him while he does it, because he's going to give you some power. He's going to give you some speed. He's a fun athlete to watch. Cruz is not really sexy. watching him play the game, even when he was a stud at LSU, he went out, he got hits. It wasn't anything really like, oh my gosh, look at how fast he runs. Look at how, how hard he hits the ball. He just went out and did it every day. And I think that's the type of guy that he probably is long-term. So
there you go. Okay.
All right. I can't stand any more of this Red Sox talk. Let's talk Cubs, baby.
Cubs? You're that excited to talk about the Cubs? I mean, that's just
anybody
but
Boston.
Okay.
So Matt Shaw's up. Everybody was excited this was going to happen. It has. They took Gage Workman in the Rule 5. Everybody was confused at that, and he's up and sitting on the bench, and I'm assuming soaking up the environment. And then Porter Hodge, who was the technical rookie, although he has 9 saves to his career prior to the season.
Damn it.
I think Porter Hodge has been an excellent frustration for fantasy people out there who are like, well, of course he's going to be closing, blah, 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 last year. Forgetting the whole thing of like veterans are closers and, very few teams are willing to hand it over, blah, blah, blah.
And
But Porter Hodge has been very good. And like, pardon me?
Ryan Presley shouldn't be closing.
No, but he is, and that's just like a thing that happens, and at some point that could change or should change.
A thing that happens, right? That's what it is.
It just totally happens. I mean, Colorado's tried to do. I mean, of course, they've had like a blow up game, but Kinley, they tried to still give it to him over Halverson. Like, just give it to the better arm that day, and if like the manager thinks that it's the other guy, that's what your pitching coach is there to talk to you about and say, here's who's ready and here's who's hot. But Porter Hodge has been very good, 12 Ks and 8 1/3 innings. And I think 2 holds. I'm not sure on that, but no saves, obviously.
No saves.
Workman doing his thing. I honestly don't really know how Shaw is doing.
Shaw didn't hit much last week. In fact, he only had like 9 at bats last week in the last 7 games.
Okay. I wondered if he kind of platooned or whatever. They settled him down.
Here's how Shaw is doing. Buster Olney is talking about the Cubs and Cardinals should get together on a Nolan Arenado deal. That's how good Shaw is doing.
Wow. Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah, 164, 292, 236 is Shaw's early season line. Now, what I will say is it's a 10 walks, 17 strikeouts line over 65 plate appearances. So not striking out terrible, getting on base, walking at a decent rate, but he's just doing nothing when he makes contact. So that could be that hits will fall. It might not be. It's just something. It is what it is.
I feel Eddie on this one. I dropped Porter Hodge last night because I got frustrated waiting on Presley to implode. Same with Halverson. I may go back Sunday night to pick them up. Yeah, I was like, all right, Porter Hodge's not closing right now. I got to do other things, but I still believe he can be a closer someday. But maybe this year's not that year. I'm admitting that now.
There you go. Just pulled it up. Shaw's BABIP so far is 216. So that's going to correct some.
That's not fair.
But
you still got to make solid contact, which onto our next team, the White Sox, are having a little bit of trouble with their rotation, being able to do that consistently.
89 wins. Are they close?
Oh, they're a few back right now. Sean Burke in that rotation, Shane Smith in that rotation. Both have had good and both have had bad starts. Yep. That's going to happen. Mike Vassell, which I had to rub on my anyway. He's up. Brooke Baldwin, Jacob Amaya, who I feel so bad for fantasy guys out there with Jacob Amaya. There was a guy in our points league last year, Govier, who kept trying to push me when he was a Marlin, Jacob Amaya, on me like this is the next guy. There's a starting job for him. I'm like, what team do you think he's on that he's going to somehow be promoted to start? Well, going to the White Sox was kind of not really, but kind of the team where there was an opportunity. He's on the bench there for them right now, not doing much. Jordan Leisure was the guy that a lot of people liked last year as like a sleeper closer type. And then
it's not over.
No, it's not over because it's Chicago. And they could easily move out whatever or have like 2, I don't know, like maybe they'll have back-to-back save opportunities. I don't know. Like, let's not get crazy.
Trash.
30 games. Clevenger is there. Yeah. Cam Boozer's another guy. That's a former Red Sox that's in the bullpen, still rookie eligible. And then Brandon Eisert. They have a lot of guys. And this is like the same thing the A's do. They're all up there. They're all making league minimum. And they're helping the bottom line. And for us in fantasy, maybe there are 2 guys in here, Burke and Smith, who could help you in different ways. Baldwin, as Ben had mentioned before, moving to the outfield. So depending on eligibility, he could be gaining things that might help you in leagues. But again, you need fantasy stats. but there's guys here. Leisure could be fun. Maybe he'll end up on a heater in May, and something good will happen there. You never know with Boozer either. Depending on how lineups go and if starters blow up or something happens, these bullpen guys are just guys you put on your watch list, especially if they're not rostered. So
yeah. Friend of the show, Mike Virginia. He's more than a friend of the show. He's on the show. He's a part of the show. Yeah. Do we talk about Kurtz? Chandler call up ETA really quick? Yeah, we don't know. Chandler probably sooner.
Chandler,
than Kurtz.
we did not talk about. It seems
Chandler,
like
did you Mike liked my or Govier liked my comment, not Mike VA, but liked my comment that I shared with the Discord that in spring training, Bubba told Paul Skeens that he should enjoy this year's opening day start because it's the last one he'll make. Because
Great.
Bubba was going to take him from this point forward.
Great
Bubba
antidote.
popped a 101.5 this weekend in his start.
Woo!
And multiple pitches over 100, and everything
hot
else
gun?
is working. Well, I don't know about that. But I don't know what else he needs to do to knock out the Andrew Haney's of the world from that rotation.
Thomas Harrington was demoted.
Of course,
Yep.
Andrew Haney really hasn't been bad either. That's the whole issue.
Yeah, that's what he does, man. He just keeps around long enough to be annoying and then blow up for you when you need him most.
I love the confidence that Chandler has. This is an elite athlete. He was a top end D1 recruit as a quarterback. And so, I mean, this is a guy that you got to enjoy that kind of confidence. It's just, I don't know where there is to put him there because, I mean, well, I know where there is. You get rid of Bailey Falter or you get rid of Carmen Machinsky and there's your rotation spot. But for some reason, it's the veteran presence. You know, you gotta
be money or time manipulation. That's all it is, in my opinion.
So
it's the same deal with making the right trade, Ben. There are certain teams who make a trade when it's the right time, and there are teams who let the moment pass. Pittsburgh always lets the moment pass. Colorado doesn't make the trade. And those are teams that keep falling behind, right? Perennial losers because they're not ahead of the curve on those things. Eddie's asking about Noah Schultz. We covered the trio of Smith, Schultz, and who's the other guy in the law firm that I'm forgetting right now? Hagen, Smith. Thank you.
Grant Taylor.
They're all in AA right now, Eddie. And Omar Narvaez was their catcher last week. Now he's up in the show. So I don't know if the plan would be to start moving these guys one at a time or do some big jump where they all just move to AAA right, in and around the draft time when they start to sign guys and clear out a bunch of guys. But I don't know that Chicago needs to rush them. They do have 5 guys, and depending on what they want to do with Bryce Wilson, maybe they're going to want to throw him as their SP6 and burn them out. And then maybe next year is the year for these guys. Like I've got Schultz in my home league where you can only have one minor leaguer as your rollover keeper as a rookie. And I will just keep him. I am going to wait it out. I don't necessarily want to see him this year. I'd like to see him when maybe Chicago could win more games, which is not this year. But either way, I'm not expecting to see him this year. It would be odd of the White Sox to make that move unless they bring up 4 or 5 core guys the second half saying here's the next 4 years for us.
So
anyway,
we are at an hour 2. And
we got to pick up the pace.
We got to really move if we want to get
good.
done.
I'll step out.
Well, let's be like Blake Dunn. We'll be fast because the Reds have Blake Dunn and Jacob Hurtyerboosie up, which I know I am not pronouncing correctly.
Both 5th outfielders that really aren't going to help you much at all. So.
The only thing I'll say on Dunn is that he is playing multiple positions. So he's going to, I think in the next probably 10 games he plays, end up with center field eligibility, depending on your league, if you need 10. And he's, I believe, also doing right field. So that's interesting.
Yes, I love Dunn. Yes.
Yeah, so it would, again, 2 years ago, Dunn had an excellent AAA season, and then last year was a disappointment. Hopefully he can come back and just be like a guy. Not excellent, but not hurt you.
And Hayes McClain back tomorrow. 2 guys off IL coming back tomorrow, too. So we'll see who. Hurtubisi's definitely gone, and then maybe Nuevo Marte goes back down.
There we go. Thoughts by Govier.
Yeah. Loading in. Guardians.
Yeah.
Greg Jones has been up. I mean, they've got a host of guys that have kind of been up. We're all kind of wondering why we aren't talking about someone better at second base, but for some reason the Guardians just didn't want to do that. But the thing that surprised me, Joey Cantillo is a guy who for years we were waiting to take that next step as a starter. and Cleveland moved into the bullpen. And you remember what Hunter Gaddis was before last year? He was kind of just
not before last year.
He was just a guy who was. They kept bringing him up to make spot starts, and he would get. Really well,
okay, yeah, sure.
And
I get what you're saying.
That's
just a guy.
Yeah, and they moved into the bullpen full time, and he just exploded. And nobody could touch him. Joey Cantillo has kind of looked like that out of the bullpen. Now it's from the left side, so that can be even more fun. But look at the fantasy numbers on him in the time that he has. Even though he's not in a back end of the bullpen role, he is putting up really nice numbers. And so just a guy to keep in mind if you need a roster filler type, because for one, a lot of leagues, he is going to still be eligible as a starter because he has made 8 of it before this season, 8 of his 9 starters. So yeah, one of those guys who's a reliever that you can plug into that spot, but 12 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings. And he's gotten a little lucky, 5 runs given up, but only 1 of them earned. So yeah, but he looks much more dominant in the bullpen. So just an interesting guy to keep an eye on.
And speaking of second base not being settled, Cleveland also is kicking Greg Jones around. Now he's more outfield or potentially shortstop, I guess. But regardless, he's up. AAA, you would call him serviceable. OBP league, he would be fine based on his history, but he doesn't have the major league time. And he's now, I think, with his third organization, right?
Wait.
It was Tampa Bay drafted him. He spent time in Colorado, debuted in Colorado.
Sure.
What?
I think we might have the wrong team on Greg Jones.
Oh, is he with the White Sox now?
Yeah.
Bitch. I knew it started with an S. The team started. Anyway, okay, Greg Jones. So I was off by 2 teams, but you get the idea. All right, we'll just move on and pretend like that never happened. And Govier is excellent at editing these things out,
and,
so no one will ever know.
One guy that did come up for them this last week, Jonathan Rodriguez, got called back up. Absolutely a power bat, but has done jack scrot with it so far.
This is live. Can't edit it. Sorry.
Oh no.
But Jonathan Rodriguez, big old boy from the right hand side. I really, really like him as a power bat, but as a guy who you get at the very end of your drafts and gives you 20 home runs and you don't care whether it's 220 or 260. That's sort of a there in the power bat. Yeah.
Did you say Rodriguez was demoted, right? He's back in the minors?
I thought he was just called back up.
Oh, they called him up today?
I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was called up.
I was looking at it last night.
God.
He was in the.
Okay.
If this is a screw up, it's not on me this time, listener.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the 40-man. I was actually looking at the Cleveland 40-man like this morning or last
Angel
night.
Martinez is
up. He's in the. They have him as in the minors right now.
Okay.
He's down. Well, that's okay. Let's move on to my team. Let's go to the Rockies,
okay,
baby.
Yeah, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Optioned on the
Zach,
9th. Yeah, apparently I'm not paying attention. So
Zach Veen is up. Chase Dollander is up. Seth Halverson is up, and it has been a rocky road for him. But the good thing was after he absolutely got his tits ripped, they put him back out the next night, and he was fine. And that's exactly what you got to do with a guy like that, is don't let his confidence get shot. Hello, Joe. You've just missed the editing moments, and now we are back. Adel Amador is now up, and then they've got a relief pitcher in Luis Peralta who's there. And this is just like me mentioning a guy who's, maybe it's a Colorado pitcher. What can we honestly expect?
They had a really fun moment when he and Freddie got to pitch against each other because they're brothers, and so that was fun, right? Wasn't that Luis Peralta recently? I
don't know.
It was a reliever for a team, and then Freddie Peralta and their brothers, and they got to pitch against each other. Woohoo!
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, but Veen, I've Veen has looked exactly like I thought Veen would look. He's going to be one who impresses you with his athleticism, and then you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, so. Right. I thought that'd be more.
3 hits, 22 at bats.
And so it is what it is. That's kind of what you're expecting. 8 strikeouts and 23 plate appearances. Not great, Bob.
Right.
So,
and I believe he is at the very back 8 or 9 in the lineup. So the Rockies are protecting him, which I believe they were also doing with Beck, had him pre-demotion at the back. So I think they just moved Veen in there as a protection policy. But regardless, he's up, and there are certain fantasy analysts out there who thought he was going to be the next great thing when he was drafted. And then a year later, they were saying, don't give up on him. And then everybody walked away. And now he's up in the majors. So let's see exactly what he can do. Govier, we're going to talk about your Tigers. Try to get it done before you come back. So Trey Sweeney is up. He's also on 13, but he's up. Jackson Jobe has been fine. Dylan Dingler is a technical rookie because he was under the limit, I believe, before the regular season started.
Love Dingler.
We just missed it. I thought we could get relief pitcher Branch. Herter is somebody who people talked about potentially being able to get into the save conversation. Bo Brisk is like second guy that was also talked about. Herter is more your more your hold guy than he is your save guy in a best case scenario. But regardless, the Tigers are doing what they did last year. They got a few guys up. They're letting them, kind of see what they can do, and hopefully they're able to help the big league club. So Job's a big piece. That's a big piece.
Job's had, when he's controlling the ball, he's really good. When he's not, he's not. And that's been, kind of a duh sort of thing with a rookie, but that is really what it is. So,
yeah.
Okay, so next.
To Houston.
Hey, Cam Smith, numbers don't look great right now. But
lovely.
Just like with Christian Campbell, the total season numbers of 3 weeks don't tell the whole story, because Smith has really been locked in the last few weeks as far as making contact, taking pitches, all that sort of stuff. It's starting to show up in the stat line. It wouldn't surprise me if we get to mid-May and we're talking about a guy who's hitting 280. So,
that's not the worst.
Yeah, well, and I'm just saying, right now he's hitting. Is he even at 220? Oh,
I see what you're saying, Ben.
He is up to 229. So this is a guy who was significant. He was below 200 here very recently, and he's up to 229 already. And he's going to get run out there every day. That's the other end of things. So someone to just keep an eye on. But those who stuck with him are enjoying the last couple of weeks. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
We'll quickly go back to Eddie commented here that Chris Bryant degenerative back issues, potentially Jordan Beck. But this is where Sean Bouchard could, as we talked about before, and I'm a truther for Bouchard as like a hit guy. He could be getting an opportunity to get at bats right now. Now, he is not a rookie. He is a nobody from nowhere, and I think he's 30 years old now. But he's somebody that might be of use for deep dynasty leagues or your 5 outfielder leagues or the league where you're just decimated with injuries. See what he does, see what the homestand looks like for him, and then make a call on him. But anyway, back to the Houston Cheaters.
That's the biggest one to worry about. Zach DeCenzo's up. Ryan Gusto's getting starts.
Yes, which is exciting because I think he could stick around for a bit because everyone in Houston is hurt. Not that I think he's going to be amazing, but serviceable.
Logan Van Way is a fun story.
He's been in 2 games since we last recorded, Ben, and has not blown up or been demoted.
There you go.
So take that.
On a guy who actually has been a lot of fun in the games he's been in, the Angels brought up Ryan Johnson without ever pitching in a minor league game. And numbers have been okay, but he's shown some pretty wicked stuff when he's been in. And that's what makes it fun to watch. I don't know what this means long term. Is he a Garrett Crochet, Chris Sale type of guy who's going to come up and start out of the bullpen and eventually step back into the rotation? I don't know, but
right,
it's fun to watch right now, and he's giving you decent K numbers as a middle reliever. Now, it's not, he did get one, I think he got one save where I think everybody had pitched like 3 days previous, and so he was about the only guy left in the bullpen who they could bring in. So it wasn't so much that he was the best guy or that he was set up to be a save guy, but 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, being solid. He's been solid, but it's an 8.44 ERA, so people are going to go, oh my gosh, run away. So
you got to look at the pitcher in this, not the stats.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
If you're the scout, the stat line guy, you don't like Ryan Johnson. But if you're watching baseball, you're like, hey, there's something there. And if you're watching baseball, you're saying, who the hell is Kyron Paris? And he's up with the Angels. And I know we got a stand for him here. And I just wanted to comment that he bats right-handed. He might actually have the best stat line of the rookie hitters that we're talking about tonight, albeit the Angels are protecting him from pitchers that could get him out a little more regularly than what has previously happened to him. And also half of the Angels bullpen are actually rookies. Johnson, we've got Garrett McDaniels, who they took in the Rule 5 pick, who started okay. I think he got tagged his last time up, so that's going to affect his ERA the next 6 weeks. Michael Darnell Hicks, Ryan Zephyrjan, who and they are all your relief pitchers. And yes, Joe, I do want people to watch some level of baseball. I mean, I like the minor leaguers myself. I know Ben likes them young. Wait a second.
Wait a minute here.
I'll just self-promote, or not self-promote. It's not me, but I'll promote to anybody out there who's like, I don't want to pay for this package, or I can only watch my local team, or whatever the hell it is. If you just have the MLB app on your phone, which I just, the MLB app, every day there's a free game of the day they will put out for you to be able to watch one free game, and you can stream it to your device, your telephone, to your television, whatever. There's always a game to watch, and baseball's fun. I used to say this all the time. Whenever I'd watch the Blue Jays, I would always switch to the away team announcers to hear what they talked about, because I was sick of listening to the Sportsnet guys in Toronto talk at great length about how great all these Blue Jays were, despite the fact they're all hitting 219. So I find that there are ways in which we can enjoy baseball, even if you are hardcore for your home team. You don't always have to listen to your guys. You know, if it's a 3-game series, mix it up. Night 1 or 2, listen to the other guys, see what they have to say. Angels, anyway, lots of rookies. One doing well statistically. Ryan Johnson looking like he might be fun long term. Dodgers, then the big guy, Roki Sasaki, looking like an excellent double-A pitcher right now. Ben Kasparius.
Yeah.
He's out of the pen. He'll end up with some spot starts. Everybody gets hurt. Jack Dreyer.
What this is?
I would give him Dreyer.
This Dreyer. This is exactly what the stinking Dodgers do. This guy you could make a good argument that this is
correct,
a top maybe 15 guy in all of stuff out of left-handed relievers so far this year. And he's just a guy that they're like, oh, well, we need to fill the back end of our bullpen. And, hey, we got this guy. He was pretty good last year. Let's just pull him up from – it's like the Dodgers just –
warm body.
When you have a development system like they have, they can pull up a guy like this. And it's just amazing to watch. Every single year they come up with a guy like this that does incredible stuff. So, anyway, Dreyer just is fun for that reason. But
absolutely,
here's a team that I had nobody on now.
Okay,
when I got done, and that's the Royals. And so you threw on these two boys.
I had to go hunting.
Yeah,
I had to go Tyler Tolbert, who I've been watching in a 30-team league, points league, because I think he has 9 points now or something like that. But he basically is a pinch runner. That's middle infielder. I think he is like
their new what's his face.
Yes, that's exactly Gore. Terrence Gore.
Terrence Gore. There we go.
Yeah. And then they've got relief pitcher Evan Sisk, who I think was just called up today.
Yep.
And I know a few deep league guys are interested in Sisk, but the Royals are back of bullpen heavy. So he is more, where can he fit in? What's he going to do? And now for the best rookie team in baseball right now. Miami Marlins. Let me make sure I get the timestamp right. Gotta impress the boss here with the timestamps. Griffin Conine, everybody. I tried to tell you guys that I thought there was something there.
Looks good.
Yeah, so far so good, right? I don't want to get crazy with it, but he had a good night last night. So currently, if you go and look at what his average and the line is, it looks good. Only one ding-a-dong, and that will be something he will pick up more of. But I think that's going to coincide with the average bumping down 30-ish points, something like that. We'll see. Connor Gillespie, I mentioned him already. Javier Sanoa, a pitcher. I think pitcher, right?
No,
Liam Hicks.
Infielder.
He is infielder. Okay, yes, because Liam Hicks is the catcher from the Rule 5. Graham Pauley, who Ben's going to have a little mention on. And I just wanted to say, technically, guys, and I get it, and I understand this is this is tough for a lot of people out there. Matt Mervis is playing baseball very well right now. Don't do anything stupid, everyone. It's still Matt Mervis, okay? And what did you want to tell us on Graham Pauley? Because he is an interesting case.
He is an interesting case in that he is. Oh, did I pull up the right thing? Yes. His season looks like crap. 195, 233, 295. 10 strikeouts in 44 plate appearances. He's played a very solid third base. And that's a position that they definitely need. Although they would love to have Connor Nordby take that position over and, be great at it. But he's really been, I got to watch a bit of Miami here recently and, or force myself to watch. I don't know. Because Max Meyer, when he pitches, I like to watch. And Pauly seems to he smacks one or two balls every game. And so far, I don't know that I've seen him smack a ball that has a holy crap sound off of it. And he ends up having the ball fall. Almost every single one of them finds their way into the glove. It's and his BABIP isn't crazy low, 258 on the year, but it's just one of those guys that it looks to me like there's another level we're going to get at some point when things start to fall for him. And like I said, he plays a solid enough third base to where he could hold on to that position a little bit. So anyway, and Eddie did ask a question here. Does Graham Pauley eat into Matt Mervis at first base once Nordby returns? Well, I mean, that is cannibalism. I think that is still illegal in Florida, although you just don't know
Not for long.
But
this is a front office question, right? Like, what do you do if you're Miami? Because you're going to give Norby a crack, and I don't think it's necessarily worth it, as Ben said, about getting rid of Pauley, knowing that you think there's more there. But with Mervis, I would assume you would think this is just overperforming and the stat line is better than the results will dictate moving forward.
And Mervis has always had this raw power, but he's always had issues accessing it. And for some reason, pitchers are throwing him balls that he can access it right now.
Yeah.
That's going to change. And I don't
Fastball diet today will become a change up diet tomorrow, and then we'll see what he does.
Absolutely. And so officially the Braves have finally pulled off the win. They had to give up some runs to the Blue Jays before they could close it out. So so at least those of you playing Blue Jays in your league today got a little production out of guys like Heineman. Whoops.
The catcher, the backup
Miles Straw. Oh,
hey, I got him in a points league. Yes.
Ernie Clement.
I needed a center fielder and I picked up Straw. That's amazing.
So
I'll take it, Ben. I'll take it. I'm too excited over that.
Bichette and Vladito went 0 for 8 combined.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of big offers with Toronto, Kevin Biggio, former Blue Jay, current Royal, I think, and Griffin Conine, Joe was just commenting here. He got confused. He was trying to remember which former Blue Jay legacy player I recommended. Teams are terrible, all because of the Biggio shares. Well, luckily, I was on Conine, off Biggio, and I've been off Biggio for a long time because I was not a big fan of him coming up as the third guy with Vlad and Bichette as that legacy thing. And I thought Conine was an interesting one for the Blue Jays, but he just became a power average dude that couldn't make it click and then ended up going in a trade to Miami. So I'm happy to see that.
Quick sideline on the legacy thing. Mike Yastrzemski. Holy crap, is he hitting this year?
Good.
He's still doing his thing where he doesn't get full playing time, but he's hitting over 300. I think his ops has stayed over 1,000 all year so far. Got another home run tonight. really, really good year so far. So that's just someone to pick up if you're looking for a fourth or fifth outfielder. Okay, sorry, we're on the legacy things, and that one popped up in my
guys
now
is
is
the
a home
time.
run today. So
it gave me time to just double check the career innings high for Chad Patrick, who's with the Brewers, who is up. And it's 136 and 2/3, which means if he's pitching well, as he has been fine so far with the Brewers, he'll continue because he's got the ability to do it. The other rookies up with them, Isaac Collins and Vinny Capra. Remember, Ben, we were so excited about Vinny Capra because the spring training line was ridiculous. Well, he's come right back down to earth with us because he is not the man he used to be. But let's talk about not one, but two. That's the Twins, everybody. Mickey Gasper is up and not playing much, and when he is, he's not hitting. And then Deshaun Kersey Jr. Ben, you've got a note on Kersey Jr. Let's hear it.
Well, we have a commenter who's a big fan of Kersey. Kersey's a very smart runner, overachieves his raw talent in that role. But I will tell you that here is what the Twins believe as far as Kersey's long-term value. He is up to play fifth outfielder right now because technically your fourth outfielder is Willie Castro.
I thought you were going to say the fans.
No, well, there you go. Last year they lost was it Michael Taylor or Manuel Margot that was on their team? Anyway,
Taylor.
They lost one of them, and then they also let Max Kepler go. And so instead of replacing Kepler and Margot, they got brought in Harrison Bader to essentially kind of be most of both of those guys. And they said, you know what, we're going to save some money, and our fifth outfielder is just going to be someone he can handle defensively all three positions. He's got a little speed. We can use him as a pinch runner, which they've done quite a bit. And other than that, we don't mind that he's not getting extra reps in AAA and developing. That's exactly who Kersey is. And so let's not get over crazy about the numbers he puts up when he gets like one game of, a start once a blue moon. He is a really fun guy to cheer for. He is one of those hardworking guys, but Kersey is not a guy who's going to be anything to really worry
Jerome
about.
Kersey, former Portland Trailblazer?
No.
Oh, okay.
Deshaun Kersey Jr. of the Twins.
Way off. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Miles Straw's line, Ben. We're
Straw and home run tonight. Whee!
Yeah, 8 points. And if it wasn't for the fact that Juan Soto's lost a half a point and somebody else has lost, Brad Lord not looking great. 4 1/3 tonight. 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 1 K -2. Boom. But that's okay. Anyway, back to the
no right here. Govier, do you do fantasy hoops? No, I don't. I used to play fantasy basketball a lot, but I haven't played in years. So there you go.
Here's the thing for Kersey: 10 games, 7 plate appearances, 2 steals. So it kind of tells you what they use. They use him as a defensive replacement and a pinch runner. That's his role.
Okay, we'll speak out of that. It's New York, and nobody cares. With the Mets, Luis Acuna is up. He's on the bench. Brannick is up. And their backup catcher is Aiden Sanger. We would like to see more at bats for Acuna. It's not in the cards at the moment. Good to move on.
Is it though?
No.
Because Brett Beatty has certainly sucked it. So far. And last I saw, Jeff McNeil, they weren't use him at second base when he comes back. So
wait, you said what? You cut out there. They're what?
McNeil, they're not intending to use at second base.
Really?
When they come back. That's the last thing I was reading, is that they were going to use him more in the outfield.
Oh.
Some things concerned with injuries and things about him being at second, which
so they DH'd him.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and
jeez,
that would dump Beatty.
That should tell you that Acuna should be your guy.
Okay.
But the other end of things is you still have guys like Chet Williams and Ronnie Mauricio sitting in AAA too, who could certainly come up and eat into that playing time too. So I don't know.
Robbie's mic is fine, by the way, Eddie. It was just a temporary thing. Ignore that, Robbie, okay? There you go. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Let's move on to another Yankee team, or the other.
It's not true, by the way. McNeil is not done as a hitter. I'm just saying there is life in that bat for batting average. Just want to let you know, Eddie. Sorry.
The Martian, Jason Dominguez, is up, going through
He's
the
no
rookie
longer a
things.
rookie. Just this week. Finally,
it's officially
3 years.
There we go.
3 years. He finally crossed over the rookie threshold.
Great job. Will Warren is up, throwing baseballs, and then backup catcher, who I think we did touch on this, Ben, about the fact that he is an older guy, 30-year-old. Yeah. Catcher J.C. Escara. Nailed that pronunciation, I'm pretty sure. They're all up, and we'd love to see Dominguez doing more, and we want to see Will Warren continue to do what he's doing. But again, F the Yankees. On to the Pirates, everybody. So we are at 129 and 32 seconds. Holy smokes.
Great job.
Thomas Harrington has been up. He is not ideal right now, so he's been demoted. That's too bad. They do have Alexander Canario up. Oh, he's up.
Yeah.
And he's up. And that's fun.
in like 3 months.
Yeah.
But
so
why not let him play every day? Like, see what he can do. That's what I wrote in a note yesterday.
I do not understand that with him at every place he has ever been. Because the Cubs kept doing that to him. They'd bring him up and then they wouldn't start him. And you're like, well, how do you expect a guy who's kind of a free swinging power guy to get into the groove and use that power? Now, what has really impressed me, I'll say, is it's only 8 games, 22 plate appearances, only 4 strikeouts. And strikeouts have always been an issue for Canario. So something I'm just kind of keeping an eye on. It looks like I will say I've seen 2 Pirates games that included him, and he was working the count well and making good contact on it. Just for reference, he now has 67 career plate appearances, 5 walks, and 3 of those came in those 22 plate appearances this year. So,
he's
walking more. At least there. He just hasn't had the balls fall.
So Ben, are you predicting Rookie of the Year now? And can you pronounce the other name that I just highlighted in purple if you're on the show sheet? It's just a
Sung Cha-Ching. Sung
Cha-Ching. Thank you. I just didn't want to do it. He's also up, and we don't really need to go beyond that. The Mariners did not have anyone on this list a week ago. This morning, they only had Leo Rivas, who we've talked enough about that I don't need to do it. They added Ben Williamson, who was a second-round pick 3 years ago, I think, something like that. He's up. He's an average guy, Ben. It could be interesting for Seattle. Yeah. I mean, the adjustment to Major League Baseball is going to be massive. But let's say he doesn't hit 180. He might be around for a little bit. Do you agree with this?
I've said since the beginning when they first drafted Williamson, I've loved the fit in the organization, because when Kyle Seager came up, he was a 280, 290 with a crap ton of doubles guy that he changed his swing some in that ballpark in order to generate more power. So he became more of a 250, 260, 30 home run guy. Very similar swings, very similar approaches. Who's to say that Ben Williamson doesn't come up, have a year or two where he's a 40 double 280 guy and then transform himself into a 30 homer 250 guy?
Oh, I'd love that. I am contemplating in the 2 leagues that I still have Mayo, finding a way to get the Williamson and add for it. Breaking news from Joe here. Seattle changing their name from the Mariners to the Mendozas. Ouch.
Owie.
Ouch.
Owie.
But accurate.
I think Mario would be offended at that. Anyway.
Padres, they have 2. They have Kyle Hart, who is a former Dodger. They have Brandon Lockridge.
He just went on the IL too.
Yes.
Was going to get a shot to take over center field with Merrill out. And
it was perfect until it wasn't.
Kyle Hart has actually looked fairly good coming over from Korea. Nothing spectacular. But
Kyle Hart. I was thinking, who the heck was I thinking from the Dodgers?
Hurt.
Anyway,
Kyle Hurt.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it started with an S.
Kyle Hart. Really, like I said, nothing sexy.
Right, pitching to his abilities or within his abilities.
Kind of your Miles Michaelis coming back over, and he's going to be a guy who's in there every day, and that's pretty much as you need to know about him for fantasy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Moving on to Cardinals. Sagaci's up. I was sort of hoping he'd get run at second base, and then they called up Gordon, or second or short, and then they called up Nolan Gorman, and so I don't. It's frustrating. Cardinals.
Yeah. He's just going to be on the bench. I guess that's his role.
Yeah. Lucan Baker is still a hefty boy.
DHing, one first base appearance so far, but cracking balls. And then the other one that I wanted to say a little piece on, Yoel Pozo. This is a very good average hitting catcher who once upon a time was with Texas. And I remember being like, oh, this guy's kind of interesting, doing a little bit of a dive. And then I can't remember who it was that was on as a guest with us with Dingers and said, remember when Texas had all that crap go down about like hazing and things that went too far? They had a group of guys, I forget how many years ago now. Anyway, Pozo was one of the guys who was part of the they went too far crowd, and he had a suspension as a result of that. So he was tainted. He ended up with the A's for a year or two within their development system, not the MLB team. And now he's here with the Cardinals. So if you are catcher desperate, there's a chance, because he's the third catcher, I believe, right now with St. Louis, or at least with the depth chart overall, he could be somewhat useful if he can continue to be an average guy. Now, opportunities are going to be pretty limited. Baker's there to take all the DH ones that could possibly go there. But yeah, that's where we are with the Cardinals. And then Eddie's just asking again, is there a potential timeline for McGreevy or Matthews to pitch for the Cardinals? They're veteran laden. It's injury related and performance down there. I don't know who's in AAA that would be on their 40-man as a veteran that could take over one of those spots.
St. Louis right now is sub 500. And I honestly think they've played over their heads to be sub 500, to be just 7-8. It would not surprise me at all if they finish May with let's say a 10 games below 500 record, that they start hitting the trade market early. And start dumping some guys, because they do have some easily movable guys that aren't going to be more valuable in June than they are on July 31st. That's just the way it is.
Right. They're healthy. Make the deal when you can make the deal.
Your Helsleys, guys like that, you wait till July 31st and get somebody desperate to get the biggest closer available on the market or whatever,
right?
Sort of deal. But they've got a lot of guys they can just dump. But the McGreevy thing is the one that I think, and Joe mentioned it in the chat here, that Matthews has a sore shoulder. Say that 5 times fast. But he is likely not going to be up anytime soon. McGreevy, on the other hand, I loved what I saw from him in the spring. I loved what I saw from him last year when he was up. This guy should be pitching in St. Louis. But they have all sorts of veteran arms that right now are kind of
blocking the way.
Yeah, blocking that way. So, yeah. And Matthew Liberatore is actually pitching halfway decent.
Yeah. I mean, let's not talk about it because I don't want to jinx it, because his name's definitely coming up and Jesus takes the wheel in the near future. He was a near miss.
18 to 1 strikeout to walk so far.
Which is absolutely like being given the, like, do not walk a guy. Do not give up an at bat. Do not give that pass up. And it's working. Which is great. Yeah. Very quick, a little blip on the Giants. They've got Christian Koss up. The note I have on him, which is burned into my brain, is that he signed way over slot when he did sign as a draftee with Colorado. He was then traded to Boston, and I don't remember if he skipped anywhere else. But him coming up and then making Giants opening day roster as a 0 MLB time rookie is interesting. And I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the idea is with it, but he's there. So
he finally got his first hit. What, yesterday?
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So now he's officially 1 for 10. But
he's on the board.
To that point, he has appeared in 2 games without getting an at bat, and he has started 3 games, and that's the total since opening day. So
right.
Not a guy you really need to worry about for fantasy, but it is interesting that he's up. So.
All right, let's ring off the Rays because they do have some fantasy names.
Oof.
Cameron Meisner, Jake Mangum, Mason Montgomery, Coco Montez, and Hunter Biggie. You've got a note here for Meisner. So on Magnum, we talked about him before. Go back and reference previous things on him. He's still hitting fine. Exciting guy, college guy, Coco Montez, I'd like to hear your thoughts on him because I want good things because now I have him in a league. But what's the deal with Meisner?
Meisner looks to me a lot like Cameron Meisner always has. Watched him this weekend because he played the Braves, and okay, Braves talk. But in all seriousness, I got a chance to see him, and when he makes contact, it's really big. And what I will say is in that park, we talked about earlier, without the second deck on the backside, wind pushes out very well. And when he makes a mistake and is hitting hard, he line drive hits. And those line drives have been going out a few times because, there is that wind is pushing things out even on the line drives because of the lower tier for bleachers. So he's getting some assistance in that park. I struggle with it because you watch him and you're like, gosh, that is a hell of an athlete. He sure looks the part. But he takes some of the most ugly swings at good breaking pitches. I watched it when he was facing Chris Sale this weekend. Sale threw him a couple of those crazy sliders that he has coming from that arm angle that he does. And Meisner looked like he didn't know what to do with that if his life depended on it. He was swinging out of his shoes so bad at it. But then I think he might have even gotten a hit off of Sale at one point too. Sale went back for a changeup and Meisner was on it. So he's on a real strong run right now. But I don't see a ton of change in his approach as far as his swing. Okay. And so that's the guy who has had a whole lot of swing and miss in his career and not a consistent walk rate. That's kind of, I haven't seen a lot different out of him in the 3 games I got to watch this weekend. So.
All right. My bid on Coco Montez for no one else because no one cares but me. His average has been pretty good in the minors. He did have a very brief amount of time with Colorado, who drafted him, who developed him in 2023. And then last year he left their organization as other solid type prospects have before to go, overseas. So he went to Japan and was not able to replicate the success he was having in AAA. Last year, in 254 at-bats, he had a 335 batting average. I'm sure that had to be close to, if not leading the league. And his strikeout to walk ratio last year was really good, 54 Ks to 37 walks, really good. But he's not a huge stolen base guy. He's a decent power guy and has twice hit 20 home runs in the minor leagues with Colorado, of course. Then this year signed with Tampa Bay after coming back from Japan and was not, knocking the ball all over the park. 118 average, came up now at the moment, 7 at-bats, of course. Very, very limited time, 286 average. I'm hoping he can kick around and do enough for me to not be Mickey Gasper level as a bench guy, but this could be found money for Tampa Bay also if they decide to give Montez a bit of run and he just has average for them. So, and last year everybody was really interested in Hunter. Is it Biggie? Is that what I'm calling him? Is that officially the pronunciation? I'm not going to look it up.
I think it honestly is. So yeah.
Yeah, people were excited at his possibilities for this year, but I find that Tampa Bay is the worst for closers. So there's just no point in getting excited about anyone with Tampa Bay because they'll just disappoint you. That's just what they'll do. Rangers, Ben, they've got 4. Dustin Harris is the new man up. Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter on the IL. Rocker, I'm not sure what we're thinking about him. And then in the bullpen, who could start, but not yet. And we talked about him a little bit last year as far as like a potential guy, Mark Church. Anything to note on these guys?
Church looks really good as a reliever. They were talking a lot about him in the spring, about how his stuff really fit well in the bullpen. And, there's always a chance a team says, well, you're doing so well in the bullpen, let's maybe try you back out as a starter. But
Hey, Holmes.
for right now, I think you want to keep him in that bullpen role because he has been extremely impressive in his performances. I won't say that they're all statistically great, but he's been really impressive in the way he's pitched so far. So I have him. I bought him on a number of teams because I just didn't buy into Chris Martin and Luke Jackson holding on to the closing job all year long, and thought maybe he was a guy that could sneak in for some, but he's done very well for me in those type of leagues as far as strikeouts and holds so far. So, he's been a solid enough middle relief pickup. But yeah, the rest of those guys, rockers getting rocked is what Eddie says. And yeah, he ain't wrong.
Leiter got hurt, but was looking, I mean, it's too early but whatever, it was looking fine. So, speaking of looking fine, Easton Lucas up until tonight, he was looking fine. Yeah. Not so ideal anymore.
No.
Alan Rodon is also up with the Blue Jays. If you're just catching up with us now, Will Wagner is up with them as well as a bench bat, and they have a relief pitcher who, until I looked, I did not realize Mason Fluharty is up. Decent K to 9 in the minors.
It sounds like a name that if you would say it, a little kid would giggle. And just
yeah. So they're all up, and none of these guys, like Rodon, looked good opening weekend. We'll see. Let's give it a few weeks.
Rodon's a really good bench fourth outfielder, third. He's a perfectly serviceable major league third outfielder. He is a fourth or fifth outfielder in fantasy.
Okay, there we go. And we talked about this with the Blue Jays, how they've got these guys. They just need a few to break through in order for things to go well for them. But at the moment, I mean, they're starting Miles Straw. So there you go. And then finally, we'll wrap up with the Nationals, who unfortunately had a bad start from Brad Lord tonight. They also have Dylan Cruz. And then I've got a guy, guys.
Yeah,
I got a guy.
Yeah, I didn't honestly realize he got called up already. So he's a guy that I was on because he was one that I wanted to talk about next week when we start talking about guys who've done some things in AAA. And well, he ended up getting called up to the majors first. So
cool.
Well, Cole Henry, for anyone who's not sure,
Henry,
we're talking about
wearing
jersey number 99
or something like that.
One of those guys that has not been able to stay healthy. 128 and a third minor league innings coming into this year since being drafted in the 2020 draft.
Yeah, it's been a rough
good. But they moved him to the bullpen this year, and we've talked about this with a couple of guys so far. Some guys that move to the bullpen really, really works, and it's looked really good. I caught one of his games with Rochester, and holy crap, the stuff looked better than I've ever seen it. And now he comes up to Washington, and maybe he can be your who knows by the end of the year what role he might take, but he certainly looks like he could have back end of the bullpen stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And on a team that doesn't have the locked in guy, they've got the classic wily veteran approach.
Their bullpen got murdered yesterday. Mackenzie Gore pitched a decent outing. It wasn't great. It was decent, though. And then the bullpen gave up like 8 runs yesterday.
Yeah, they've got Kyle Finnegan, who's he's a good enough reliever, but gets
the save.
That's your save guy, and that's just it. Is he's kind of he gets saves, but 4 walks and 6 strikeouts in 6 2/3 innings. It's not exactly pretty.
They traded Robert Garcia. Could use him. So.
Jorge Lopez, Eduardo. I mean, good Lord, the names here: Lucas Sims,
wow,
Colin Pache.
Okay,
yeah. But Cole Henry could very quickly move up the pecking order in that bullpen because there just isn't a whole lot there.
And Brad Lord was lucked into the starting position, and that might now just punch him back down into the bullpen where he was fine before. But, he does have a starter history. Nazem Nunez also called up. He was a Rule 5 guy last year, but, they protected him and didn't let him play much. But Dylan Cruz is the other one, Ben. So What is
Dylan!
your
we did talk about him a little bit earlier, but
holy shit. Alex Call says that he's the leadoff. Sorry. I'm just looking here on Fangraphs, which I understand as the wind blows, they change their thing. Call is now leading off with the Nats and Cruz is 9th.
Yeah.
What world am I living in?
He's actually hit leadoff twice in the last 3 or 4 games, right? Actually 3 straight games he's at leadoff. 3 straight.
I love when one of my scrubs is doing something. I'll take it. I'll take the victory for the whole year because of right now.
And so Cruz has not played since Friday. Wow. So a little bit of extended time off.
Bye-bye.
But yeah, my question with him, he was starting to hit fairly well and then went on a 2-game, like really rough patch. The last game against the Dodgers and then the first game of the Miami series where he went 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. I went, oh, that's not the way you want to do it if you want to get more playing time. And lo and behold, he hasn't seen the field since. So, again, this is a guy who they want to make sure is getting some playing time, and there's really not a whole lot to show for him in AAA still. So sending him back down there isn't really going to get him anything. He needs to be starting at least 3 times a week at the major league level to get that feel in. But man, as long as Alex Call is hitting, I don't think they're going to have trouble.
30 years old.
Yeah. They're just and Jacob Young is so elite defensively that you don't, even if he's not hitting worth a darn, you've got that going, that you put him in the outfield and he gives you that right there. And so it's going to be tough. Cruz is going to have to start hitting, but I do think it doesn't make any sense for them to put him back down in the minors. And so, because he needs to figure it out at the major league level. That's the tough part for him is, you can say, go back down to AAA, get your head right, whatever. If he does something like that, maybe I can respect that. But I think it's going to be, he's going to go down for 3 weeks and come straight back up sort of thing. If he does, it's not going to be, we're going to stick him down there.
No.
Until July, it's going to be, he's going to go down. We don't care if he hits whatever, he's going to go and he's going to do some things with his swing and he's going to come right back. Because like I said, there's what he needs to learn. He needs to learn against major league pitching. That's just what it is for him.
Fair enough. That's it, guys. We covered everybody.
Every single.
I know we're leaving. We're definitely getting out of here. We're saying goodbye. There's no doubt about it. But Eddie just wanted to know real quick, anything on Class A of the Jays as a possible speed option at this point, some point in the season?
Boy, the longer that
certainly, but he also was a speed option a year ago at this time with the Mariners, and it didn't work out. So I don't know if it's a safe bet. It's just, I don't know if it's a safe bet because Toronto does not typically have a guy who comes out and just does a thing, like a single thing. Like Davis Schneider is multi-position. That's why he's there. Miles Straw's making $7 million. That's why he's there. I don't know if they would bring Class A up.
If Class A could play elite level defense, that'd be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
What I will say has impressed me so far this year is that really he has not driven in a freaking run this year so far, but 6 steals and a 9-7 walk to strikeout rate.
There you go.
In AAA so far, 523 on base for Class A in Buffalo. So obviously not saying that this is a guy who's going to come up and set your world on fire, but absolutely a lot of speed there. And the longer that Varsho is not able to be in the lineup, they're going to want somebody who can handle center, but Clase isn't that guy. He isn't an elite defender by any means. He's a passable center fielder. He's probably much better.
Passable. What a great, hey, he's passable. Woo!
He's getting degrees, baby.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we did it then. We can end the show. Is that the truth?
Yeah, I think we need to get on our happy merry way and
next week.
Give me 2.
next week we're covering AAA hot hitters, I believe.
It's
And
so hot right now.
yeah,
So
and then
hot.
we're going to follow that up with AA and lower hot hitters, and then we are going to circle back in May to AAA pitchers, so that we give everybody a little bit of time on their arms before we start telling them they're great. That's the plan, everybody.
That's a great idea, Robbie. I love it. We love doing the Prospects Power Hour. Robbie Baseball, big gentleman, Benjamin Chase, and myself here. It's great to be back with you all. I'm just showing this real quick for everybody. I put the schedule up, so you just go to our YouTube channel, Pallazzo Podcast, youtube.com/Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Beauty.
Monday, Friday,
two.
Sunday. You don't have to ask any further questions. The schedule is right in front of your face, right there at the top, okay? Great. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's been a ton of fun. You guys make the live chat that much better. Eddie, thanks for the donation. Mwah! Unbelievable, dude. Your generosity
Thank
knows
you,
no
Eddie.
bounds. And yes, thank you. We love it.
You are the
Everybody
Griffin
else?
Conine of our fan base with a 304 average, 819 OPS in 15 games.
There it is. All right, everybody, keep it real. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2
Utah.
Z's. We are out of here.
Give me two.